We're all allowed to express and go through what we need to, and everybody, no one's like judged for it. And it's just whatever the process is, you just let it come out organically is kind of in that way. Obviously, not in any way that it hurts others, but that's the thing. But dude, I mean, some people in extreme cases, just doing this breathing, it'll in some cases look like out of The Exorcist. Now, again, this is just somebody who's breathing. They're just doing the breathing. And when they really get into like releasing what's there, sometimes it can look like, or they could be making twerking movements and stuff that are like of a demonic nature. And they actually are like purging demonic energies. And it's all just through doing the breathing. So it just seems like the breathing like accelerates and cleanses things. And in some extreme cases, people are like, I'm kind of joking that it looks like the Exorcist movie, but actually in some cases, like not quite the same thing. But you know what I'm saying? Like it can be very intense and like, people can be making even
There is a
weird noises and stuff, but it's like releasing
there is
it. It's wild.
there is a guy called Rick Strassman who's working with some Spanish people. They are they developed a method to just like make the DMT experience longer, like dosing the DMT in the body of the subjects, and they make the experience longer, and they make that for multiple people so they can map that those places and what those people are experiencing and what's in common, what's the different thing that they experience.
Well, that's the thing. There's overlap of what people will experience. Like using the breathing I'm talking about, there is overlap. Like some people will have past lives experiences, but some won't. So there's like overlap in that way. Um, and there's also overlap. Like some people, like some people will actually get like information or like an actual vision. Like arguably, you could probably get like free energy is possible. Like anything is possible, but it seems like what happens when you do this breathing is that most people have to work through their own traumas. And once they like heal those things, like if anyone has any like latent like depression or bipolar or anxiety, like all that stuff tends to be addressed first. But then after like the personal stuff is worked through, for people, it seems to just open up into so many other like kind of potentials. Like it awakens the potential on like deep levels.
Seems like you could do a test with like having everyone kind of make a little journal of their experience or what they wanna like you've heard of like the intention machines, the Bill Tiller. I put a link in the chat from a while back, but it supposedly he was able to like get a group of people with a common intention standing around this what he called an intention machine. It's kind of like a monolith type thing. But supposedly they were able to like change the pH balance of water at least and other things. But if there was like an intention that everybody had, like universally, you could do like everyone having the same intention, like a prayer, and see if that was an effect. Or you could have like individual thoughts that are that people are trying to project, and then people could write down what they thought like they received, and then you could all send them to a certain spot and then look at them collectively, so that you wouldn't be able to like see anybody's answers until we all look at it together. I don't know. There'd be a couple tests that you could do maybe to see if there's an effect. You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the breath work is like activating like a higher state of consciousness within the human, um, like on that level, if you're actually adding that to it. But just using intention, yeah, that's a huge topic and the potentials of that. Like actually just putting your minds together to put a positive intention into something. Which when people say like, "Oh, pray for my grandmother, she's in the hospital," you know, stuff like that. Like to what degree are people praying? But is actually just putting positive intention towards somebody actually it actually can make an effect. And if you get several people, can you actually heal or like assist somebody remotely
I
from
think
that?
that
You got to be careful.
it definitely seems like it's possible, and that it happens, and there's miracles that are created that way. And if it is possible, and it was well known at one point. That'd be one thing they don't want us to realize because people could just like you know affect a lot of things that way. You know,
You got to be
better.
careful, though. Some people call that slavery.
Yeah, I
Or
consider the
Tora, I was-
researchers that I consider the researchers that the Japanese guy Masaru Emoto, I think, that guy who just showed that positive energy, positive emotions that you can project on some samples of rice inside the water can influence that, and the one that you will project on it some bad emotions, it will just rot inside the same jar. And also he showed that those emotions projected on water is just research memory of water, and we will find some research or books. If you want to research on YouTube, you will find videos about the guy called Masaru Emoto, and you will find that he came with multiple people, samples, and they projected different emotions on those samples. A group projected positive emotions, and the other group projected bad emotions, insults, bad feelings, and those things.
yeah. Yeah, and being able to change the pH of water. There's also the claim, like, there's this woman named Lynn McTaggart, and she, on the intention experiments, she did these back like in the 2000s. I bought her book, yeah, somewhere in the mid 2000s, when she was. I read parts of it. I didn't read like every word of it back then, but I did read and I knew her work, and I did read parts of it, and understood in general what she was doing. But they claim to have been able to like lower the crime rate in a city by getting several people to all focus on it beforehand. So things like that. And then, yeah, changing the pH of water. Also, changing like how plants grow, like the rate at which they grow. And that one apparently works remotely. So like if a bunch of people send positive energy to like a plant, even though they're not even remotely near it, they might be thousands of miles away. The plant actually grows at an accelerated rate, for example. It's pretty amazing. So, I mean, if all of her work is valid, like the implications on it are far reaching. But I haven't personally been able to verify every single one of hers. But I mean, those are some of them. And apparently other people like who had like scoliosis, for example, they had like her book is called like The Power of Eight, something like that. So it's like about you have to have 8 people or more. And if 8 people just focus on like someone else's like some positive intention or like healing for someone, apparently it does work. Like there's even like people that had like scoliosis, which is like a bending of their spine. And when these 8 people like did this focusing, the person's spine for the first time in their life actually straightened out, and they validated it in x-rays. And there's no like religious connotation with it necessarily. Like there's no specific deity. I mean, if somebody wants to, they can think of it as Jesus or whatever, but there's really no like specific deity that's even needed with it. It's just the positive intention of 8 or more people apparently can have these results.
Yeah, just research the water memory rice test or the impossible rice experiment, and you will find
Oh yeah,
many
no, I know
examples.
about that
There
one.
is
Yeah,
just not
Yeah,
one.
can I just,
a lot of people have done that one
sorry,
too.
I just wanted to add something to that, Gio. I find it quite strange that it's 8 people, just like the Ark had 8 people.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah. 8 and 12 are interesting numbers. For this one, she did 8 because I don't know if her reasoning for that, like, did she try it with 6 or 5 or 4? I don't know. But, I mean, this is a very different thing. Like the breath work is like bringing up like the unconscious within the human mind, it seems like. Whereas this kind of focusing is like actually just trying to like impact a positive change, essentially remotely or in person together, and the differences with doing it that way. But yeah, Dave, I know about that. It's pretty interesting, pretty far-reaching implications.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of us flat earthers, especially, were doing the rice experiments or the crystal. Not so much with the crystals because that's a little harder to do. But why haven't more people tried to repeat that woman that did? I just put a link in there that did the frozen. Like that, she got like actual images to show up by doing like either a thought or an image right next to the Veronica or Veruca, her name or something like that. Let's see, it says her name. But she
Yeah,
got
dude.
like images to show up. You guys were talking about water having
Yeah, yeah.
intelligence earlier.
Yeah.
Why haven't more
And
people
she
repeated
freezes.
that? Because she's the only one, as far as I know.
When she
That's a good
freezes the
point.
water, the water will draw just the same exact image that she showed to
Well,
it.
but the one of
Well,
them she
that's the
did
thing
where
about it. It wasn't the same exact image. It was like a version of the image. Like it was interpreting the image in its own way, which implies a little more, even, right? Like it had an
Yeah, yeah.
intelligence.
yeah,
I've seen
when
it.
they
It
play
was fascinating.
Stairway to Heaven while the water's freezing, the song Stairway to Heaven is playing. It will
Yeah.
freeze in the shape of like ladder rungs and like a cloud with like light above it in the
Is
frozen
that the
water.
same woman or someone else with
That's one of them. I
playing
think
the
it's the
music?
same one. Yeah, that you're talking about. I could go double check, but the one I'm
I'd
talking
like
about
to
was
see some people
plays
confirm what
music.
she did, because that's an amazing thing that people should be repeating the way they did, way everyone was doing the water experiments, I mean, the rice experiments.
Yeah, I have hers, a bunch of hers saved. I would just have to go find them real quick, but I have a bunch of them, and it shows like the Stairway to Heaven ones. Like she didn't just do it once. It was like there's like 30 of them. It might take me a minute to
Veda
find it.
Austin.
Yeah.
Her name's Veda Austin. Here's a whole page I'll upload, or I'll put the link for it. That has Marimato as well as her stuff. Veda Austin, yeah. I'm waiting for somebody to like how everyone was doing the rice experiments and be like, it worked, it worked. Somebody should be repeating her work and making it clear that that actually happens. Not to say she's like she's hoaxing anybody, but it's pretty amazing to claim that it would do its own version of a picture put next to the crystals. That says a lot. That shows intelligence rather than just a frequency repeating, or a slightly more pretty picture of a crystal than an ugly picture of the crystal. It shows an interpretation of an image, which, if that's the case, that's huge.
Well, what about that it's interpreting the song and making there's like,
Yeah, I haven't heard that one yet. Do you have a link for that? I haven't seen the one about the Stairway to Heaven song.
oh, I thought that was maybe the woman you were talking about, but no, I think I didn't quite hear the name you said, and I might have just assumed that. Sorry. I heard
Veda Austin's her name, but yeah, she did the one with the crystals, like imprinting like a similar picture to what she would put next to the crystals. She was using like really pure glacial water to do it. Maybe that's part of the reason people aren't repeating it. But she was freezing it on a window pane, basically, and either having a thought of a sailboat and the sailboat would appear, or putting like a picture of something next to the pane of water or the window pane, and then it would freeze in its own interpretation. We've talked about this before. You know who she is, Veda Austin, or Veda Austin. Anyway, that'd be cool if people were
yeah.
repeating that and finding similar results.
Well, here, let me post some of these, dude. This one, you know the song "Single Ladies" by Beyonce,
Yeah,
and it's all about the ring. If you
yeah.
would put a ring on it, the whole put a
Put a
ring
ring
on it
on it.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, check it
Right.
out. When she played Beyonce's "Single Ladies" to this water while it was freezing, it made a ring.
See if she's doing this like repeatedly. There's got to be other people trying it, or I haven't heard of anyone else like trying to confirm that actually happens. Because that would be, if a ton of people did it, like the rice experiment, that would be like a huge shift in
And
like what we think about water. You think?
I just posted a video with the 1 hour and a half, a full documentary. It got evidences from the Japanese guy, Masaru Emoto. It got also evidences from the Nobel Prize winner. What's his name? Luke
All
something.
right, Dave, I have more.
Luke Montagnier. And they have multiple evidences about the water and how you can project and influence water with emotions.
All right, these are a few of the Stairway to Heaven ones. They're all a little different, but they literally seem to show an actual stairway going up to what looks like a heaven, and they're all a little different. And apparently, that's played when they play the song Stairway to Heaven when the water is freezing. So if this is actually translating the meaning of the song and the actual, what the song actually is, what even does that imply? Because yeah, doing it with an image like you were showing as well. Oh, that's the Stairway to Heaven. That's this. What I just posted there is a ton more Stairway to Heavens. Like if you click on that, you'll see. This is all in her video. I can go find the actual link to her video too. But the one on the left is zoomed in, which literally looks like a stairway going up to the clouds. And then all of these other ones. How many here? There's like at least like 50, whatever it is on that one. If you zoom in, you can see how many times. That's how many times she repeated it. That's how repeatable she's getting that. And every time she apparently, I mean, as far as I know, every time she plays Stairway to Heaven, she would get one of those stairway ones. This one is the Ring, the Beyonce one. On the left is a zoomed in one of a good example. And then look at all those other ones. Like again, that's over 50 or 100, however many that is there. Is that a 10 by 10 row? So maybe that's 100. Or it's an 8 by 8. Yeah, it's 8, so. But that's how many times apparently it put a ring when you play that Beyonce, put a ring on it. So like the water is interpreting like the meaning and understanding to then put a symbol into it that actually reflects that. Like an actual physical like scene representation of the type of song. This one is doing it with a plant. And it replicated the plant. Or you put a seed in the water. You put a seed of a plant in the water, and then you freeze the water, and the water freezes in the shape of what the plant is when the plant is an adult. That's what this one is. I mean, I haven't replicated these all myself. I'm just obviously showing the ones that they... That's when you play These Boots Are Made for Walking by Nancy Sinatra. You get what looks like a boot. I mean, don't these look like these things, even though somebody could claim pareidolia?
Yeah, I also put a couple links in there for the Ebner effect, which I've talked to you here about before. The Ebner effect is something that it's an electrostatic field that supposedly it can do away with GMOs and get things to grow more robustly, like you were talking about. And it also has the effect of returning, like if you do it with a certain seed or a certain plant or a fish, it'll return. It'll produce an extinct version of the plant that was like already gone, like that no longer in existence, but it'll return to that extinct version, and it'll be more robust and more like resilient to the effects of the environment. And the Abner and whoever else, the guy that he was working with, ended up dying or being, suicided, I guess, a couple years after they figured this out. But yeah, the Abner effect's a big thing too. If people use an electrostatic field to affect anything they're growing or even themselves, I imagine, if you give it to your...
Yeah, Rawls and Davis wrote like 4 books on all that.
What's his name?
Not electrostatics, but essentially the magnetic field and how it affects biological entities, plants.
What's the name?
Rawls and Davis.
Rawls and Davis?
Yeah,
R-O-L.
Rawls and Davis.
What does this mean? What does this mean here when I post this? Like, if this is real, this guy that froze his hand underwater and the frozen water looked like an X-ray of his hand.
That's interesting. You know what happens when you put a magnet underwater and freeze it? Like not in the water, but under it. You get an egg, a perfect egg shape, which is some sort of like incommensurable geometry. It's it represents 1/5 to the power of -3. Essentially, it's like a
The Fibonacci egg.
Yep. Pretty much, dude.
Albert
it.
Lloyd Davis, is that what you're talking about? Rawls Jr., Walter C. Wells Jr. Okay, yeah, Rawls and Davis. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, they wrote a total of like 4 or 5 books. One of them, like, you'd be pressed to find anywhere. Like, if you got a copy on your hands on a copy of that, dude, like, you'd probably,
Ah,
yeah.
they've done away with copies of these, huh? Books.
Well, like I said, you could find like 3 or 4 of them online digitized, but like the last like 4th or 5th book is like nearly impossible to find.
Then there's that. There's some links I have on my other computer that I have to post at some point too, where I was looking into the electrification of water that you drink, and then it was based on I was researching it because of Ewar Nan's mention of the hydrotherapy plants or the hydrotherapy facilities that they demolished, and no one even has heard about them. But supposedly there was like these places where water therapy was like a thing, and you would sit in a tub of like galvanized water, and it would have great healing effects. But yeah, drinking structured water at the very least is definitely a thing people swear by.
Dude, I literally just got out of my bath. I feel great. Yeah, there's something to it.
Yep, and you get grounded.
Electrifying it
The
to some degree.
a lot of the oracles with
Don't put a toaster in there, but you know what I'm saying, like some kind of like a little bit of a charge.
You
a lot of
get
the oracles
grounded.
with
Much information, Beasticles. Too much information.
Well, if you have,
I'm just saying.
if
Sorry,
you
go
have
ahead,
metal,
Gio.
no, go ahead. If you have metal pipes in the water, I'm just saying you potentially are getting grounded if you're in a tub. So yeah, that's like very powerful to get that much grounding.
Everyone always shits on taking baths, but like, you guys, are you getting older? Are you experiencing aches and pains? Maybe you should take a bath. Put your man card down, right? Nothing to do with being a man.
Break
Take a
out the
bath.
bottle of wine.
No, in all sincerity, like, I think that is so important to
No,
do.
you're right, Beasticles. I'm not gonna disagree with you.
Yeah, have
What do
you
you-
heard that when you actually swim in structured water, it actually structures your body by just swimming in it? Have you heard about that? That idea? That just by being in proximity to, like if you went swimming in a lake or a river, somewhere that's really natural, or the ocean, they're all different, but like at a highly structured natural water like that. Of course, if you're doing like a tub, I mean, everything will kind of vary depending on, the type of water and all that. But even with a tub, you can still get some of that, even if it's not like completely ideal. Um,
How do you
yeah,
structure the water, though?
but
Yeah,
the idea that
like
if you
springs
swim,
then.
if you immerse your body in structured water just by immersing in it, that structured water will actually structure the water in your body, through the skin, right in the system when you're in the water. That's the idea.
Sounds like baptism. I'm just saying.
Oh
Like,
man, yeah, like at the springs, we try to go a couple times in the year, and it is something else swimming in those springs.
Well, you get like the most full grounded effect because your whole body is surrounded by electrical conducting. So you do get like fully grounded. But even in addition to that, there's the idea that the structured water of the natural water source, and that's partly why you feel so good after being in nature like that, or after a long day in the sun of being in a natural. But the idea that like that's part of why you get this whole rejuvenation effect. If you surround your body with structured water, it actually like restructures the water in your body, and then everything functions more ideally because nature is meant to kind of reset us in that way, being in the earth like that with water.
it's literally making yourself clean, right? Like, more than just the physical dirt, you know?
You can get a little bit of it in a shower, and you've heard the idea that like people get insights when they're in the bathtub or in the shower, and even in the shower you
Exactly.
you can get a little bit of grounding, and it's the part of the idea is that just getting grounded, you can get insights. Wasn't it like even Einstein or whatever claimed that he got some huge insight in the tub?
That's
All my best
crazy.
ideas are in the shower.
That's crazy. Sitting here talking. I was just sitting here thinking about what you guys is talking about, and the one place on the entire planet where they worshipped washing each other's feet with water and washing each other's hands and stuff and praying is the place where Jesus showed up.
Yep. Yeah, washing of someone else's feet is the most humbling thing you can do, right? But there's something to it though, as well, like physically, mentally, and above all, spiritually. Right now, Gio, you said structured water, swimming in structured water has healing properties.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you get structured water?
That's a good question. Water needs to trickle and fall in vortices as it comes through the earth. It seems like the pressure of it falling and the temperature, a lot of factors. But you're saying how nature does it, or how do we get it ourselves? You're saying
I
in the
think the
modern era.
spirit does it. I think you can structure any water you want. I think that's where it comes from. If water is basically, resonating with whatever it's in contact with, then if you have, like, I think that's how holy water, the idea of holy water came about. You know what I mean?
You can restructure
Yeah.
your body by restructuring your water by those like the Hinduism, by adapting the positivity itself, like those 7 chakras, the 7 virtues of heaven. Meditating.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of the time when we talk about these kinds of subjects in terms of like health and like, meditation or like sun gazing or drinking structured water or alkaline water, or all these things are like, I don't know, I feel like they're like side effects of the bigger thing. That's just how I feel about it.
Well, do you think all humans are like even like designed to at some point swim in like a natural water source regularly? Are we designed?
Design, yeah, I would say so. I would definitely say so.
Well, to the
I mean,
point to where, like, you know how you have to get sun for vitamin D and there's all these different things, to the point to where, like, do you think you have to swim in some natural water to stay in
I
some
think
kind of balance?
That's for vitamin C. Or
I think that's what we're in, Gio. Right? The fish don't know that they're underwater.
Yeah.
Like, I truly think that is what we're in. All of aerodynamics also follow the laws of fluid dynamics. Like, literally.
So we're just programmable fluid within programmable fluid.
I mean, I guess you could say that, yeah. But programmable is not really the right word. It's more like, if I had to use
Manifest.
a parable, yeah, if I had to use a parable, there's a harvest, right, that needs to happen, and we're laborers. Like, what happens when a
Yeah.
laborer brings back a bad harvest? You know what I mean? You got to get back out there.
What do you mean by the fish don't know? Like they wouldn't know. Like if you took it out of water, it wouldn't know the difference. Or
The fish don't know that water is wet, essentially. Like, that's their environment. So imagine taking a fish out of water, a new environment. They had no idea until you took them out of the water. Kind of the same thing with
Fish
this place.
routinely jump out of water on their own.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like we're well aware when I'm underwater or not, and don't have oxygen. I'm well aware. I feel like they would be the same unless you're just talking about their overall stupidity.
Why do fish jump out of the water like that?
There's many reasons.
Some of them fly, like flying fish. They can go
Yeah.
very far. It's pretty wild.
oh man, on a good windy day, I've seen them go forever.
No, but I got what he's talking about. If you're, I feel like in the water, how do you know you're in the water if the only thing you're in is in the water?
Because you have a contrast of, oh, you're saying for like fish who never touch the surface?
I don't know. It's a weird question because we're always in air, right? We're usually in air, and we can tell that there's air around us as compared
No,
to
you
there
can't.
not being air
How can you
around
tell
us.
that? Only when
Because
you
it
feel
hits
the
me.
wind.
No, when you can't breathe, when the pressure on the thing says 0, you can tell there's no air in there.
Well, it's not a
Where?
literal thing.
Where?
It's it's just an analogy.
Yeah, it was just an analogy. It's not, I mean, it's kind of literal, but not really. My point is that we are surrounded by a medium that we don't know how to perceive because we haven't been outside of it.
Yep.
But you can still have, like, we have vacuum chambers, and that doesn't mean we have to be outside
Yeah,
of the
but
atmosphere.
that doesn't negate his point, though.
It kind of does because it shows that
There's
you don't have
always
to
stuff,
leave
No,
the
bro.
it
area
The
of the
absolutely,
background
it
atmosphere.
media.
100,
Why are you
it
trying?
hundred
Yeah.
percent
Why are
doesn't.
you guys
It
talking over me,
100%
man?
doesn't. Because you're
It's
missing
not
the
very nice.
point.
Go ahead, Rich.
Let me
Yeah,
ask you
so we
that.
don't
Does
have
that?
to leave this realm or whatever you want to call it in order to tell that there's air. We can remove all of the air and see an environment that's a vacuum.
Let me
You don't
ask you
have
this.
to
Is it
follow
a perfect vacuum?
hold on one second. You don't have to follow an analogy to its nth degree to understand what the point somebody was trying to make, though, right?
But
Hold on.
it's
But is all
disanalogous
the air
because
really?
it's wrong.
Is all the air really out of there?
So this guy.
It's kind of going
No, he's
past.
wrong. He's wrong because there is
I
not.
know.
We've never actually made a vacuum that completely takes out every
We know he's
single
wrong,
air.
but he's missing the whole analogy,
Yeah, he
Yeah,
dude.
is.
I'll make another analogy for you, Rich. All right, make another one. So until you actually are swimming in a pool, or you actually get your feet wet, you're in there. Like, can you claim that you know how to swim without swimming?
Yeah, someone can.
Yeah, but would that be realistic, right? No,
It wouldn't be likely.
right, because they've never been inside of it, inside of the water, never actually had to stay above water in order to breathe. Like there's
Yeah,
certain
but they
entailments.
could hypothetically know every theoretical point to swimming, even if they
Right,
haven't swam yet.
right. So from a materialistic standpoint, right, how do we know that we are not in a medium that is imperceptible to us based
We
on that?
couldn't know that we're in an imperceivable medium. It's an unfalsifiable claim. Pretty pointless.
Okay, I mean, I can go from there, but the point is, it's like
The truth is
you,
also unfalsifiable.
And we're getting
the
to how they think they know it's a globe. We're gonna get.
oh man, yeah, and I feel like it's gonna go to that. I'm about to leave. I'll catch you guys. Hopefully you get the analogy.
Maybe someday.
Wait, Rich, did you get it?
What the analogy falls apart based on his clarification because air, water, the mediums we do understand are obviously perceptible. If I had known he was talking about an imperceptible medium, then I obviously wouldn't have said anything, right? Because it's imperceptible.
Well, it's more like if the fish is just in, like, say, there's a fish that was in deep water underneath, never even realized there was like a surface with air that other creatures breathe. It would just be like air to them. Water is air to them, the same way that air is to us. But they don't have that kind of juxtaposition. Was the whole point, I think.
What?
Never mind. It's like if you think you're on a spinning ball and you just like assume that your whole life, and then you like finally like look at reality and realize it, the obvious that we're not actually on a spinning ball. Kind of like that, maybe.
Who just assumes
But,
it?
I only
Most
came to
Globers that I know of base their
I-
position off of evidence.
No, I was
That
not even
happened
trying
there.
to say we should go.
evidence. It is
I
similar,
mean,
where you're just told something or just assume something, and then you have no evidence for it, but you assume there's lots of evidence.
Gio, you did this.
no, it's not, dude. But
Why don't you just add
let's
something?
rewrite this shit. No globe. Let's go
I
globe
wanted to
free.
add
I
some
mean,
humor.
dude, I only brought it up. I only mentioned it kind of because in my mind, like what Beast was saying in terms of like the many of the, well, it's the moment has passed now, but I was saying like part of what he was elucidating is also the mindset where they'll claim they think it's a globe for X reasons. So, anyways, yeah, that's why I
It
was.
is. It is. I hear you.
But don't talk about it. I'm gonna bring this up
Well,
and
yeah,
I'm gonna make
you know
a
what I was
jab,
thinking?
but don't talk about it.
Yeah, the most common analogy you could think of, the reason you think that, like, or why Globers, I don't know you, brother, but like, why everybody thinks that you're rotating on the Earth's axis, right? Because they say there's nothing to compare it to, therefore you wouldn't expect to experience it, right? They make that argument, right?
What? Say it again.
Oh, then I'm
There's no way
busy.
to
Geo,
test
can
it
you take over?
because you have to have a globe to actually test if it's true. So there's no way to actually prove it, but
That's how
it's
it linked
proven
in as
by the
well.
thing itself.
Yes, exactly. That's how it was
There it
starting to
is.
link in. There it is.
You have to have
Because it's all outer space
you
to
have
them.
to have
There's
a
not.
globe to disprove that you're on a globe.
No, there's
No,
certain things
dude.
you can never show are true on a small scale. You have to actually be on the globe to have it work the way the globe says, but there's no way to prove that because you're on the globe.
No, you'd have to be off it to get to a different reference frame that they swear really does
Yeah,
that thing, but you can't actually go to see that other reference frame. So it's all just
right. Exactly.
conceptual.
Yeah, I mean,
You know
Theoretical.
how it's like we're like
Theoretical
used to the
evidence.
force that's pressing down on us? Like it's almost like, like you know how we get used to it.
so you can't prove
It's
there's
like
a
how can you get
god unless
outside?
you can go to somewhere where there's no god and show that it's incoherent.
No, it's like get up to go to space to see it as a sphere, for example. That would be
Right, and
that
that
you, that you
why
can't
doesn't
get out of the flat
that comport to the god
stationary
belief
world.
then?
You can't get out of the flat stationary world to ever see it as a ball.
And yeah, you can't leave the god world to go to a not god world, prove that it can't exist.
I'm not sure what you quite mean by that, but I mean, a god would
It
have
is
actually
true.
evidence.
Then you're saying that you can't prove that God exists.
That's true. That's why it's called faith. That's why it's called
No,
belief.
the
Same way
the
with the
proof
globe.
of God is that in order to prove anything you need him. That's that. So you just figured it out.
That's just begging the question.
Now, while you're alive, yeah, you can't prove it.
What
While you
Torah
are
just said
alive.
is
Yeah,
blatantly
but if you
begging
can't
the
prove
question.
anything, that means you can't prove it's not God.
No, I could
You know,
obviously prove things, and I don't need a God to do it.
Jeez, this is escalating quick. What happened?
You just have to
Well,
die,
you're
and
the
you
guy.
know.
You're the ones
And
claiming I can't prove anything if I don't have a God. So I mean, I'm just gonna set you
you can.
straight.
You you can. You
I
just
can.
have to die. And yeah, you just have to die, and we'll have a direct encounter with him. You can prove it to yourself, and those people next to you at that place won't need that proof because it will be already proven for them too. We, unfortunately, here you can't come back to us to show us that proof that you got for yourself.
Did anyone get anything out of that, or
Yeah, made sense
No,
to
let's
me.
just move on. Well, where are we at?
we're at God proves himself to you whenever God sees fit?
Well, no, I think what we were at was like there are fish that are under the ocean that have no idea that the air exists. In the same way, like you don't know the experience of not a globe because the Earth is a globe. But it's more about like, so if that is the case, then is it possible that we're in a medium that we don't know?
I definitely think flat earthers are in a medium that they don't know about. That's for sure.
Oh, you know everything about the medium. You probably call it reality, right?
I never said I know everything.
And then B said something about there's a harvest to be had.
But if we both experience the same thing, like the Earth is at rest and that there's no curvature, we all experience that. If somebody else is saying it's something different, isn't it them that's claiming that there's something occurring on a scale that we can't immediately validate?
Yeah, they'll say, look at the lights in the sky.
Alan and Shane.
Well, the lights are,
No,
they
no,
do seem to,
that's a different thing.
That's okay when they do it, but if
like
you're not
Rob,
on our
I
side, you
said
can't
not.
do it.
Rob, do you agree that the stars manifest in some kind of a spherical fashion? Rob, would you agree with that, or?
Yes.
Yeah. And you're open to how that could be occurring, but do you think of it like a planetarium of sorts around you, no matter where you're at? You're seeing like some kind of a hemispherical region of sky? Because you can project spheres on spherical coordinates onto a plane. It seems like that's what they've done. They take the spherical coordinate, project it onto the plane. They call the plane a sphere. But see, they would have to be fudging it somewhere, and that's where like the whole GPS question and like where are the distances, like planar versus spherical distances are different.
I beg to differ that they're different.
Well, if you have like a triangle on a plane between 3 points, and it's like you know the exact distances to 3 points that are making a triangle, if you then, and then that's just planar, coplanar, if you then were to put that onto a sphere, those points, when you moved them to fit around a sphere, would end up being different distances than they would be when it's planar.
Oh, you mean with the assumption that the sphere, the Habersign with the spherical, the celestial sphere around us determines the distance of the ground, like the idea that the ground's actually curving.
Well, that's
It
how
goes
they
based on
adapt it.
assumption.
Yeah, they adopt that
Yeah.
concept and they try to claim the ground is curving, but it's actually just the spherical nature of the sky. But I'm saying the spherical nature of the sky seems provable in a lot of ways, or that it functions to that geometry.
No, not spherical, just two rotating star systems in an electromagnetic
I
field.
was gonna say,
At least that's what it
Way
seems
more
what
like
do you
than
mean
two
by
star
it
systems
manifests.
there, buddy.
The way it can be
It's a
replicated on
double
a planetarium.
I
double
can't even
electromagnetic
imagine
field.
it. That's how crazy it is with the idea of the triangle on the sphere. Like, I understand a triangle, and then you're saying it changes length and changes angles. And I'm like, what the heck? How are we? It's 1 inch long. Then we're going to put it on a sphere, and it's no longer going to be 1 inch long.
Well, the
What?
better way to do it is with 4 points. If you have 4 and you make like a rectangle, and then you put a line in between connecting like one of the corners to one of the other corners, that's actually better even than a triangle. And that's the one that is claimed because if you go now and you go look it up of where those places are that fit the geometry, they'll claim that that's already happening now, that it's being calculated with spherical coordinates on the ground and spherical coordinates in the sky instead of just spherical coordinates in the sky with planar positions on the ground.
Yeah, that's like the
and
square that they say this line doesn't fit, right? I understand what you're saying.
when you say spherical geo, that's optical for you?
No, I'm talking actual distances between, like if you had 4 points
Like
on
what
a
they do,
4 points on a
like what
planar
they
Earth, 4 points on a planar Earth that were connected by a line between on the inside between two of the corners, all those distances would be a certain thing, a certain distance from each other. If you then go and try to put that onto a sphere, it would actually be different distances. And they
Yeah, but
claim
So
I'm saying
that do that now. They claim that with their Google Earth and with their GPS map and model. What I'm saying is that for it to be a plane, that means some of their data is either off or there's something going on that's like skewing or spoofing, or there's some kind of system involved in terms of giving us the spherical distances, and they'd be different than if they're planar. Just between any
Yeah,
4 points, let's say. Between any
when
4
you say
points.
spherical nature for the stars, you're not saying the stars are making like their physical positions create a sphere. You're saying that they appear spherical.
I'm just saying that like the way a planetarium works, when you sit in the planetarium, it looks like the sky. You need like it would make sense that the sky is doing what a planetarium is doing, which is some kind of a hemispherical dome, but that's just like around the observer, and how that exactly is happening is interesting. Like, is it the length of our vision? Is it like an actual field that surrounds us? I mean, there's different ideas, but it would also just make sense on a planar surface. You'd only see a limited distance. But I mean, the question is like, are the stars like on like a plane above us, like a plane above a plane, or like even if it was a huge dome, any amount of arc within a small region would only be minimal. But if it's like a personal atmospheric dome kind of a thing, where it's like a personal one, that's more like a planetarium to a degree. Like you're actually seeing the whole stretch of the sky of what you would see for that exact position at that exact time. Or like even going to the level of some kind of like a holographic manifestation above us, that depending on what position you are on the ground, you get like a unique manifestation of it. That's kind of going down that whole potential route too, like a holographic representation, like or like a lenticular lens effect, where like it manifests, like the crystalline plasma structure manifests depending on where you're at, and it manifests as like a 180-degree hemispherical dome on a planar surface. And so
Well,
it's the sky,
if you're
that has that, and the sky has other celestial sphere effects that are being projected down to a plane, whereas they just try to also claim that Earth is a globe along with that star coordinates.
yeah, if you're okay with, if you're leaving open the idea that the physical positions are creating a sphere or a dome shape, then what's wrong with the idea of how they say sunsets and stars appearing to drop? What's wrong with that idea?
Well, I mean, it's equivalent. Like the whole azimuthal grid and the 180-degree dome of the sky, like in a planetarium, it already is the same essentially. So it's just a coordinate system that claims that that coordinate system is put onto a globe. The question is that actually put onto a globe or put onto a plane? That's the actual question beneath it. But the stars are the same on either. In terms of now, the
Well,
assumption that they go under your feet on a ball is not the same, but that's just an assumption. There's no validation like that stars are going below you, like elevation wise. I don't think.
well, that's what I was gonna get at. Like it probably, it would have to be one or the other, right? Either they are or they aren't. So if they aren't, then it would be strictly optical that they appear to drop.
Yeah, it's like if you have like both ideas that they, it's either one way or the other, and then you add up all the other things about your direct experience, doesn't indicate that you're on a ball whatsoever, or you're not upside down moving at all. So that would win out. Like if it was just a toss up between the two, then your direct experience would definitely make the idea that we're stationary and the sky is moving trump the other for sure. It should have. I mean, it always has, but we've been convinced that it has to be that all the laws of nature just are, so unnoticeable, and we just can't feel it because it's so big, and all these other things that are just laughable to most of us now.
If it were the case that the sun was local and smaller than as portrayed in the globe model, why does it not change in angular size?
2015 called with your angular size argument.
11 years and you haven't gotten an answer?
Do you think that's a good argument still?
Leo, how's the angular
Yeah,
size matter? How's the
because
angular size matter
showing.
if you
I'm
don't know the
answering.
distance? If you don't know the
What?
distance.
Yeah, let him answer. If not, I have an answer.
So we do know the distance to the sun. It has been measured, and it varies only very slightly
Oh,
as
presumption.
compared
Okay,
to
presumption.
measurement.
Yeah, when new people come into this conversation, it's so funny because that is one of the things that they argue. Oh, the sun was so close. Think of how big the sun is. We'd be all burned up. Like they're
That's
taking
not
the
what I said at
assumption of all
all.
the globe ideas. No, I'm not saying you said that, but you're
Well,
assuming
then why
that
don't
we
you
know
address what I
how far
said?
away the sun is. You said we know how far away the sun is,
We've
right? You knew
measured
that
it,
for
yes.
sure.
Well,
Right?
yeah.
You
Can I ask a
think that
question?
you assume that.
One second. One second. What is an astronomical unit?
The distance from the Earth to the sun.
Okay, has it changed over time?
I believe it's been refined. Yeah.
Refined? What are
Yeah.
a couple of the numbers?
I think there's an 8 in there.
I'm just saying, like, that because that distance has changed, but the angular size and diameter hasn't changed. And then your only other
Well,
argument is going to be what, like radio waves or something?
well, let's say I have a 2x4, right? And I measure it with my
Oh,
handy
God.
dandy, what do you call it? Tape measure. And then I get a super Jesse path of light laser quantum measuring tape that measures down to the nanometer. And I remeasure that board and I get a different measurement than I did with just my regular tape measure. The distance of the board hasn't changed. The method by which we measure it has changed and has become more refined.
So now you know for sure the sun is exactly 93 million miles away, and you know that with absolute 100% certainty.
We don't need to get into your certainty debacle again. I never
Well, I'm
said
just wondering.
exactly. I never said exactly 93 million miles.
Well,
I'm
it's
sure there
exactly
is an
one
error amount.
astronomical union, right? Correct?
My unit, astronomical
Yeah,
unit.
yep, it's
We're
exactly
not
one.
marrying planets here.
Yep, it's exact, but it's one, right? One astronomical unit.
Correct. Now back to the point I was making. If the sun was local and smaller than portrayed in the globe situation model, it would change in angular size as it moves overhead. This is a law of perspective.
You're
Yeah, I would
assuming
like
that you
to.
know what size it would be if it was that close. You know exactly what would happen with the sky, the way it looks. You know exactly how the angular size would be if it were a flat Earth with the sun looking much smaller than the thing we're on, which is exactly what we observe. So you know exactly what it would be if it was the opposite of what you're trying to say. How would you
Well,
know that?
I know what it would look like based on the laws of perspective, and they don't show that it is small and local.
so here I would like to comment on that. So in a way, I actually partially agree with what Rich Evans is saying. If the sun was a sphere of a particular size at a particular distance, one would think it would change angular size the way other things do, depending on its distance. But in order for it to set the way that it does, like I don't know how, it's obviously got to be within a certain range.
There's magnification
Anyway,
effects and all kinds of things going on.
What's causing this magnification?
Well, we just see that it has a magnification effect on the sun. We have there's
What's
all kinds of
causing this
strange things
magnification
with
you're
the
claiming?
size. Well, no, that's the thing. We're not going to claim that it's something causing it when we're not sure exactly what it is doing it, right?
Let's
Atmosphere is one of
thank
those
thank
things,
you.
obviously.
Thank you.
Did you
Thank you.
know?
So
Did you know
so it's an
that?
ad hoc response.
You can
Wait,
claim you're
Rich.
sure about something. It doesn't make it true.
Can I say
Rich,
the
did you?
second? Can I say the
Oh,
second
go
part?
ahead,
So hold
Gio.
on. Yeah, the second part. Okay, so Rich, if he's assuming it's a ball or a sphere at a particular distance, he's probably thinking of it like that. And all I would say, Rich, is that if that's not happening, then perhaps like your idea of that would be false. However, meaning that it's like a sphere that functions the same way, as like spheres do on the ground. Whereas, for example, there is, and I'm not saying this in some huge debate point. Like I'm not trying to like even spar with you in this way because I just already know this is a thing, and I'm just sharing it, and I'll just pass the mic. But
Cut out, Geo.
oh yeah, sorry. But you can take collimated lenses and you can put it in front of a light source, and as you move it closer and further, the light source circle will not change angular size. So it can be done with simple collimated lenses. Now, I'm not saying it is this way, but one possible way, if you were surrounded by something or a plasma or some material that had that ability to function like a lens, like we can create on Earth, then whatever the sun is would not change angular size in the same way with distance change. It like attenuates it. It's like an attenuation of sorts. So it is possible, could be replicated on the small scale. Now, I'm not saying that's proof that that's what it is, but I'm saying that the fact that it can be replicated on a small scale, strongly indicates that if there's any type of a lens effect above us, that sun, even though it is moving away from us over a planar surface, however the sky is working, but the way that it can attenuate and the fact that it won't change angular size with those types of lenses shows that it could actually remain roughly the same size, although it does change sometimes at the, when it sets and so on, but that's a whole second part. But that it wouldn't change in the same way like a sphere would, that you'd be like moving above you. It would actually function like those lenses do, where it doesn't change angular size as it moves away. And whatever the sun is a whole separate question.
And
The
it
only
does
problem
change
with
angular
that is that
size, though. The ballers
yeah,
admitted
only
it changes.
slightly, not based on the law of perspective, by a completely
Dude,
different amount.
the law of perspective, they represent how we perceive the world rather than the absolute physical nature of the reality itself. Do you agree?
Here, I have an
What?
animation. Here, this is I've posted this before. This little animation I just posted, it actually has like 3 different examples. I think it's like the first and the third one are really the 2 that show it, because one of them shows a light that's projected onto a sheet of paper going through the lens, and when they move the paper back and forth, it doesn't change angular size. The one in the middle, he's doing his hand. I don't think is as relevant, but the third one, he has like a contraption which has a lens on it and a light object that's like a yellow circle behind it, and he shows that as he moves that whole contraption thing forward and backward, it does not change angular size with distance change. So this is 2 ways showing that either projecting it onto like a sheet of paper or just going through a lens and viewing it, both of those don't change angular size with distance change, showing that lenses can do this.
Yeah, so it's adding a whole lot of assumptions that are not necessary when we just take in the globe model. If we take the globe
Yeah,
model
Yeah,
with
because the globe model
the
the
doesn't make
globe model
any
has so many,
assumptions
yeah,
at
everyone
all.
just
yeah,
talk over me is what I
upside
wanted.
down,
Hold on,
spinning
guys.
in all these different directions without noticing it. All
Yeah,
kinds of
let's try to
assumptions
go
from
one
the
at a
globe
time,
model.
guys. 'Cause there's a lot of people's
I
points
do,
that are
I do,
being missed.
yeah, I do have a point I want to bring up with you, Rich, after you're done, if that's
Can
okay,
I
Gio.
just say something real quick?
Well, my only point is that saying that there's some lens that's causing this effect, as opposed to the uh, that even being said, the lens doesn't solve day or night or the disappearance of the sun being obstructed half when it sets. All of that is easily explained upon the globe model. Everything that uh, can be done in terms of transportation, like headings for flights, all of that just screams globe. So, I mean, it's a cute explanation that could be the case, but it seems more ad hoc, like an ad hoc
Okay.
rescue than anything.
Okay.
Well, Rich,
I have a,
real quick,
I want,
Rich, if you are intellectually honest enough to admit that if it is a stationary plane, like it seems, right? Then they reverse engineered everything so they would exactly fit the explanation that you accept for it being a globe. That
Well,
would
I
have to be the
disagree that
case
it
if it
seems
is
like a
actually.
plane. I
Okay,
disagree
well
that it
then you're just not
can I,
seems like
intellectually
a
honest.
plane.
can I try something with you, Rich, real quick?
You're
Okay.
just
Well, one
not.
sec.
You
Just
I
not
remember
disagree that
honest.
it seems flat because we obviously see boats disappear bottom up without them
oh,
uh,
perfect.
becoming what's the word I'm looking for? Diffracted.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so you agree what you're saying laws of perspective, so you're using your perception. And I want you to remember the idea of a fish that's never been out of water for this, okay? So what we're talking about is you're saying due to the perception that I view the world through, the thing that I'm stuck inside of. These are the laws of the perspective of that thing. But what laws of perspective do represent is the perception. They represent how we perceive the world rather than the absolute physical nature of reality itself. So if that is the case, that means the physical nature of the reality could be different from what you are perceiving it to be.
Yeah, but all you're saying by that is it can look like a globe and act like a globe, but it could not be a globe. And
That's
it could be the
correct.
case that some omnipotent God is misleading me and presenting all of this facts for it to be a globe, and then it's not actually a globe. That's possible. It's
It's
just
your
not
G
likely.
word, dude. It's your G word. You worship the globe. You say it's globe. It's globe. I know everything. It's globe. That's all it is.
No,
But the
I was giving
globe doesn't
specific
make any
examples.
sense because you don't have any orientation. You don't have
No.
you have so many things that are illogical in the globe model that we point out daily. But you stick to it because it's the thing that you hold on to so you can say, I know the concrete foundation underneath my feet. It's a globe. When really it's God, dude. He's showing you this because your perception and the reality around you might not match up exactly. He's
Well,
revealing himself to you through that because he
let
loves you,
God
dude.
be true and all men a liar. If God exists, he can show me himself.
This is how he's doing it, dude.
Well, he knows exactly what would convince me, so he can either do that or not.
Now he's saying like the paradox is almost the evidence that something's up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
you
there
can
is
leave
a
him out
I
in the
didn't
God.
hear a
house, but
paradox
you can't make
whatsoever.
him drink.
Something is afoot. What is afoot?
Something, yeah, something's going on here.
We have a clue. At least one
Wait,
of
okay,
you.
so you're
Right?
saying all pilots are just taught to treat it as stationary, even though it's not? Something's up with that for sure.
Yeah, we perceive things a little bit differently than how they all measure out. Okay.
Yeah,
Are you
it
trying to
may
say that it measures flat? Because based on all my entire understanding of headings and the way of navigation of planes, it is not.
No, I'm going off just strictly what geometry states and what a water level does in reality, and what
Well, you
horizontals are
understand
and
that
what
geometry
verticals
is just
are,
based
and
on our
all of those
perceptive.
are no, all of those are base axioms, not based on perception, but by reasoning alone. Because we don't perceive perfect triangles, sir. That's what
That would be
makes
a
it
reification
transcendental.
fallacy.
That is another evidence that is being revealed to you right now to let you know that God exists.
To say in geometry there's a plane, therefore our existence has to entail a plane would be a reification fallacy. Wah, wah.
That's not my claim. You're missing the point, dude. Something's afoot. That our perception and the physical reality doesn't necessarily, like, just because we perceive it one way doesn't necessarily mean it has to be physically that way. You remember when I said think about the fish in the water? Think about that.
Well, yeah, and let me ask you this, Rich, and this is just an honest question. I'm not even trying to do a whole debate style, really. I'm just asking you honestly, like what your thoughts are. Um,
Go ahead. Did I cut out?
No, he might have got a phone call. Hang on one sec.
oh no, I'm here. Sorry. Okay, if you've never tangibly seen or done a measurement of water curving to the rate they claim it is on the globe, is it understandable to you that if people haven't seen that measured, they would have no reason to think it's happening?
No.
Valid,
The
like fully
star
valid.
trails and the fact that only particular stars are visible from each hemisphere is
No,
evidence enough for
those are
me.
all like second or third party things. I'm saying that water curves directly, like directly having evidence that it doesn't just stay level, but actually starts to make this curve effect.
Like a
Is it
first
what
order
I'm asking you
measurement,
is what I'm
Geo.
asking you is like is it what I'm asking you more is like is it understandable to you that people who have never seen an actual measurement of water curving would either be skeptical or say that it's not the case or say they've never seen evidence for it?
Sure,
Is
yeah, they're
that thing when-
justified in being skeptical that water curves if it hasn't been demonstrated to them. But
Okay, all right.
need only show them a meniscus and a test tube.
Need only a meniscus. All right. Well, I'm familiar with meniscuses, but that doesn't mean that that water's ever been validated or tangibly shown to actually be curving to the rate that is claimed.
How can you say that? How can you say you obviously don't know what a meniscus is then? Because
Well, that's
meniscus is
a local.
definitionally curved.
It is, yeah, but it's like a locally
And is the
scaled
water at rest?
surface tension effect at a local small region.
So
That's not standing water over large. That's not like a standing water in a lake or a pool or water at
yeah, but
rest.
they can
So are you
observe
saying
a
that
ship
like
that hasn't been that isn't sinking, right? Be obstructed by the water in the distance. They don't have to measure that for that to be
are you saying,
effective.
Gio, that large bodies of water are flat?
That would
Well,
be a
okay.
positive.
If you go to like Lake Tahoe, let's say, and you're up at Lake Tahoe, and it's a huge, massive lake, and like, is that water all just level and planar, or is it actually making the bulge that the Globe claims? Yeah, the difference between like large bodies of water. I'm just using Tahoe as an example. I don't know why I was just thinking about it. As just yeah, is that water actually curving to what the globe is? And all I'm saying is that like there's all these other explanations as to why people claim it's a globe and why like the curved water would be a necessity of that, but there isn't any actual like measurement of the water actually doing the thing they're claiming. So I'm just saying like if somebody hasn't seen that, I'm asking Rich like wouldn't it be understandable logically as to why somebody would not accept it and just work it in as saying
I just don't I don't understand like the simple test that I did, which is just to simply measure what is the angle of the horizon when you're standing on the beach, and what is the angle when you're looking over that same beach from 2,000 feet up, and you can clearly measure that angle drop. And if you calculate what that angle drop over 2,000 feet calculates out to, it does calculate out to, the 8,000 mile diameter, right? So I don't
Yeah, see,
understand.
that's not a
Like, I don't
measurement
understand why that isn't considered a measurement of curvature.
because
Go
you
ahead,
already
Rob.
said it's a calculation. Thank you.
Okay, so if I measure the volume of a box where I multiply the length, the height, and the width, is that a calculation? Yes. Is it accurate to calculating the volume? Yes. What's wrong with a calculation to determine the shape or size of something?
All measurements are calculations.
Well,
All
I'm referring
measurements are
to
useless then, is what you're saying.
like, for example, we've been talking about doing these curved water tests, like Rob's test and others, the ideas of and matching it to like a straight line and all of that. When we do that, it's going to give a result. And if that result is that water's not curving, then everybody who currently thinks it's a globe would have to, for the first time, now see a tangible measurement of water not curving, which means up to this point, they haven't seen that. It'd be the first time they'd ever see it. Actually, water measured to be curving tangibly and physically without just some calculation or optical.
Well, rather than saying tangible, can we just say first order measurement, because that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I can see, I'll tell you this much, Gio. When I can see the Avalon Casino, which I have a direct line of sight of, when I'm standing on the pier at Huntington Beach, I have a direct line of sight to the Avalon Casino, which is a huge 200-foot tall building on Catalina Island, right across the water. If I could use any optic to be able to see that, then I would believe that we live on flat water. But that's not an observation that anyone's ever done or that ever will be able to do. So we don't ever have to worry about the water measuring flat. That'll always be obstructed.
Wait, you're saying from Huntington Beach Pier you can or can't see Catalina?
You can't see the Avalon Casino, which is the biggest building that's right on Avalon Harbor, which you have a direct line of sight to.
You said you can or cannot?
You cannot see that. You can't even see any of the buildings that are in that harbor.
Dude, I can see Catalina from frickin' multiple locations across the coast.
You can
dude,
see
on a
you can
clear
see
day,
the,
bro.
yeah, of course. You can see the upper parts of Catalina because it has 2,000-foot tall mountains. And you're only looking across, whatever it is,
If you're
27 miles of
expecting to do
water.
that with the naked eye, I mean, good luck,
No.
bro.
I said with any optic. You can't do that with a P1000, a P1 million. You could take out a 14-inch telescope. You're not going to be able to see shit.
I'm
I'd beg
confused
to
how that's a
differ.
direct line of sight.
I'd beg to
I'll
differ.
put $100. I'll put any amount of money that you want. Okay,
I
any
was in
amount of money that you want. I'll
in
even take out
Huntington
the
Beach.
equity I'll take out the equity on my house if you can take out any instrument and see the Avalon Harbor from the Huntington Beach Pier. I will give you any amount of money. I'll take that bet any day, all
Huntington
day.
Beach today at like 3:00, bro. So I'm out there quite a bit. I'll
All right,
probably
so let's
be out
take the
there
bet.
tomorrow.
Let's take the bet. How much you want to put down on it?
Guyslow's about to put $1 million in XRP on this right now.
I'll put any amount of money. I'll take out home equity on my. If we sign the document, I'll take out a home equity line of credit. I'll put.
Yeah,
I could probably do.
Jake, big baller. Okay, we could do a little gentleman's thing here. We don't need to get all. I don't need to take all your money, bro. All right, but what I do need is some sort of optic because I don't necessarily have like a P900 or whatever, you know. So you'd have to show up with something.
Well, I have an 8-inch telescope. That's way more powerful than a P900.
Wait, Jake, what are these distances? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's like 27 miles. I think it's like 27 miles or something like that.
Oh, bro, yeah, no problem. No problem, dude.
Well, different regions.
But we're not talking about, remember, we're not talking about seeing the island. We don't disagree that you can see the island. We're talking specifically about seeing the Avalon Casino, which is the biggest building in that harbor, which if you line of sight it on Google Earth, you'll see that you have a direct line of sight to that casino building from the
a lot of this is going to be weather dependent. Tomorrow's a 50% chance of rain, downgraded from 60. So I don't know. Tomorrow would be the best day, but I'd give it a shot. So
who's to say you should see it? Who's to say you should see it, even if it's directly in your line of sight?
I don't know.
Well, if the water is flat, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to see it.
Why do you keep saying line of sight?
That's not true, because if I take a brick and it's 1 foot in front of you, you can see it. But if it's a mile away, you can't see it. But if I put a tower of bricks on top of that, you'll be able to see that. That's not going to make you resolve the brick that you could no longer see because it's too far.
With enough zoom, I could have to see the one brick.
Yeah, I could absolutely see a brick from a mile away. I could absolutely see a brick from a mile away. As long as I have line of sight to it, I can absolutely see it. Well, maybe not with the naked eye. I'm probably with the naked eye at a fog.
On top of that, you'll be able to see that. That's not going to make you resolve the brick.
You were there? I wasn't there, but I was involved with figuring out the experimental setup, talking with George about it, going over the data. I was in the middle of all that where it was going over.
So you were remotely there?
I was remotely there, yeah. But, you know, who else went there?
And you got the curve, you think?
Stanley went out there, and so did...
Dude, did you ever come in here when Stanley came in here? Remember that years ago? Stanley was in here for like a few months. He was in here like every day. Stanley, do you remember that? Were you around here?
No.
It was like a few years ago. Stanley,
Yeah.
anyways. I don't think he's like
terrible what happened with him. That's why.
Dude, I was going to ask you what happened with him, but I can't even believe anything you say. So
what happened?
Yeah.
That dude, you better take this with a grain of salt. Go ahead, Jake.
You didn't hear he was involved in a mass murder. He got killed.
Are you fucking serious?
No,
well, you'll never
I'm just
know
kidding.
if he's serious.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
That's why. Yeah, people thought I was about to explain.
I do know what happened with him though. He was basically completely sick of the flat Earth thing, and so he's just moved on.
That with all kind of like somewhat jokingness, what you just did right there, that was just immoral. To tell us
I just when what's his face chimed in, I had to troll for a couple minutes. I didn't let it linger.
Dude, you can't troll about people being murdered. That's like a
well, hold on. I know Stanley. I know Stanley for a long time though. Stanley was on my show years ago. In fact, I had him whistling on my show, playing music with me one night.
Oh,
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. I know.
Here a few times. You might have played in here with him.
Was chill.
A few times. I think
Stanley's good people.
I think he was in here like in the VC maybe a few times when you were playing. Because remember he was in here for like a few months, like pretty regularly at one point.
I remember him being around at one point years ago. A couple. You know how long you've been running this Earth Awakenings?
Since I think it'd be like September 2021.
Okay. East's first day.
Well, no, I'm just wondering because it's what fucking 26. That's 5 years, dog. You know, or like, you know, what, 4.5, 4 whatever years. That's fucking pretty
Yeah.
righteous as hell. You know, that's cool, man. Yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, that's cool. I remember when Soundly was in there.
Soundly used to
Yeah.
go into gems a lot back in the day too when I was fucking around in there.
No, Soundly was like a total fucking. You know, we hated each other in the flat Earth discussion, but we were cool outside of it. You know, like any of us, or like any like with any of my relations with the ballers. But Soundly was cool people. But that's cool. I mean, I'm glad he wasn't fucking murdered. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Jake, what the fuck?
he got sick of the whole thing.
Yeah. He got well. What happened was everyone. Well, you know what we have to say now, then, Jake, and you have to send it down the grapevine. Is you could tell him that he lost the debate and he was embarrassed, so he had to leave. He faked those pictures, and everybody found out. So he
Do
left
you
in
remember
shame.
when he
Yeah,
trolled that piece
That's
of?
how I'm going to tell the fucking
Do you
story.
remember when he trolled that
If
piece
you
of
say he
paper that had
ran,
like a federal?
if you say he
Yeah,
ran, he might come back.
that's right. He got beat. Tell him Issa fucking sent him.
Do you guys remember when he did that video where he showed that like federal paper that had that thing about it was like a troll that he did where it was like a piece of paper with like a federal stamp on it and it said shape of the earth deception something I can't remember exactly what it was and then it was like on his desk like in the background
Oh,
where
and
you
like
could still
everyone thought he was an agent because they saw the piece of paper on the fucking.
yeah, do you remember that?
I do actually. That's so funny.
I very faintly remember that, yeah, but it's somewhere in my
No, it was
memory.
like back when we found out that there was a script. Like there's a little script that the Globers have, right? It is real. And it was like kind of during that era. And then fucking Homeboy came out with that, if I'm not mistaken. Cause like the Globers, like what would happen is you catch a Glober and then like you knew you were debating like 3 different people when they would take a second to respond because one of the buddies was emailing them and then they'd hit you with the really good response. Do you know what I mean? So like there was like a literally like I think you guys have even discussed it, right? There was like a paper that like people used to like
Brandon read it. Brandon had it and he read it one night on his show. We did a whole show on it.
right, exactly. I know you guys have touched on it. Yeah, you guys knew the existence of it. But when it came out, I think that's around the time Soundly also did this, which was just I mean, I remember it at the time because everyone was like, "Oh my god!" Because like everyone thought everyone was J-Trig, and like was working for the government, and they found, they were all coming to get us for being flat earthers. That's why we did flat Earth FEMA camp. Round up your friends and come to FEMA camp because it was scary as hell. It was so terrifying at the time. But yeah, Sally did that. That's funny.
Do you remember when
You should
Anthony
put out a public
Riley's
announcement. You should put out a public announcement to him, Issa, and just say, "You're not going to get away with this," and then he'll come back. See if he comes
well, do you
back.
remember when he took
Yeah.
those pictures of the electrical
Like
towers?
Merle. Remember when Merle says that? Merle says, "You're not going to get away with this."
He took
Shout
pictures
out
of
to Merle.
those electrical towers, and then Anthony Riley said that it was CGI because there was like a bird in one of them that was obviously a CGI bird.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. There was something. There was so many anomalous shit though about some of that though, if I remember right. But I forget because I always
Oh
just felt like that.
yeah, that's for sure. All kinds of stuff going on, and edits,
Yeah,
different footage, and it would change, and it would get scrubbed, and all kinds of weird stuff was going on.
Dude, he literally rented out a hotel room. I remember when he did that weekend live stream. He rented out that hotel room in that hotel that's across the bay. Had all his equipment up there, and he was like, he had open invitation. There were all kinds of people passing by. Do you remember that one weekend when he did that?
I think I remember hearing about it, but I don't remember it specifically.
Yeah, he was
But it
streaming
was
all
like
weekend long. It was an open invitation for all flat earthers, and I don't think a single one showed up.
right. That's
For
what I
all the people that were
remember.
I
calling him a
think
liar, saying it was all bullshit.
I've
everybody
been
skipped on
scared.
that. Sounds like
Who is who?
I don't know. I never watched his channel enough to see necessarily all those streams, but yeah, I mean, there's a
Bring him
lot of
in here.
I
I'll
just
call him.
thought like it was the use of like a weird anomalous effect that makes it look like, you know, super spherical, and it's like such a cheap way of debating again, you know, debating for the globe is Soundly's footage, unfortunately. But I just think, you know,
Dude,
I don't know, man.
and we
Oh
had
yeah,
I
that
that's
know.
paddy
social
wagon.
media.
We had that
That's social
paddy
media
wagon ready
marketing.
that whole weekend to black bag any flat earther that showed up, and not one of them.
Fucking IVs and shit, you evil fucks. What do you call it? Like, I think, yeah, I mean, like flat Earth, man, is like beyond. Like, I think actually, you know, I think we really kind of touched on something cool that I think it was Tora that brought it up or made me think of it. It's almost like this incongruity of the models, i.e., what we directly experience versus what some of our measurements propose theoretically, right? And like, you know, there's a gap there, and so like that gap almost is a paradox that cannot be bridged, and it's almost in a weird way. Like I really dig what Tora said, and I don't necessarily agree with it fully, but it's almost like, well, I don't know, my own way. It's kind of like the idea that that paradox is evidence from God that something's up, and I really dig that, and I think that flat Earth, that's all that it is. Because like, if you're gonna say that you're a glober, you're immediately relying on a third party to fucking verify all your information. Which, fair enough. If you give that person, give that institution enough credibility, fair enough. But you're really arguing mathematical formulas and like theoretics versus what you directly experience. And if you're going to deny what you directly experience for some mathematic formulas, man, that's weird. Like, and this is why I was saying to Gio the other night, and I think you'd appreciate this, Jake, is that like basically flat Earth is like, you ever seen like those girls in the woods that are like screaming to get in touch with their primal self, and they're like, I'm gonna trust myself again, you know? Like that kind of like therapeutic thing that fucking like a retreat. You know what I mean? That's what flat Earth is. It's like that's what it is. It's a bunch of people that are like, wait, maybe I'm not spinning. And maybe I'm going to actually trust my senses and look at the world through that lens and give it enough credibility and maybe more credibility than the theoretics. And I think that's a fucking really good mental exercise because nobody's going to know shit. Nobody knows shit.
Yeah, I mean, dude, when I think about with the Earth thing as well, like, okay, everything that like the Globe Earth folks believe, I know all that information, you know, and I think to myself, it's like, I know everything they know where that leads them to think that it's the case. So, I mean, I haven't heard anything. I mean, well, I have heard new stuff over the years, so I'm not saying I knew it all instantly, but I mean, you're the same way, Issa, right? Like, you know, like, for example, if somebody stopped you on the street and quizzed you of why the Earth is a sphere, you could probably like ace it. Like you would know all the components. So you know all the reasons why they claim it's a globe, yet they think it's the truth. And many of us, let's just say, at least question it or like stay, you know,
Well, yeah, dude, you know what
don't
it
think
is? It's
that's the
just,
case.
it's being honest with the idea that there's a third party here. You have to fucking, if you're going to accept the distance to the sun being what they propose it to be, you're accepting the third party's evidence and explanation for it. And what's scary to me is the idea that fucking like George Orwell wrote about this. You know what I mean? Like like this is not like a foreign, George Bernard Shaw understood the concept. You know what I mean? Like this isn't like old, this isn't new shit. Like these are ideas that like you know, Orwell, man, we, you know, we can what do you think it beyond our mathematicians to have the sun and the stars close or far away? Like, you know what I mean? They understand there's like, just because you know the angular diameter, you know, doesn't mean shit because you don't know the distance. And if you're going to say that, well, we put a satellite up and it measured the distance and you're going to believe it with like unquestioningly just accept it. That's so weird to me. You know, that's just fucking weird. It's logical not to accept it. That's why flat earth is boss.
Yeah, man. I mean, that alludes to what I'm referring to is that, like, you know, the information that they're going off that leads them to take that leap of faith or leap of trust in an authority. Now, I guess there could be a critiques of like they would say maybe that you don't, someone doesn't understand or whatever, some probably understand would be thrown out there. But I'm just saying that, like, you understand the globe model more than virtually probably anyone on the street, really. I mean, there's going to be some people on the street that would know,
Well,
like,
you know what?
but
Dude, I had an interesting conversation with a buddy of mine. Well, a friend of a friend.
I mean, we all
And,
would be in that
and
position. All of us would,
oh
but
no,
yeah.
I think so. I think we could all like ace it and add some Star Wars effects into it, like and add aliens. And I could take you down a whole trip about Enki and the aliens and Tiamat and the fucking. You know what I mean? Like I should fucking be like I should read palms and fucking be an astrologer that tells people about fucking golden aliens from fucking Tiamat. Like you know what I mean? And I'd fucking you do better in the world than fucking trying to tell people the earth is flat. But like the point is that like I had this cool conversation with this guy. He's an electrician. And like, for all of I am so sure of the sureness that he would have about living on a spinning space ball. Like, I opened up the conversation about electricity and like, he's an electrician. And I was just kind of getting into like, well, what do are you interested in electricity? Like, are you interested in whether or not like whether like I just started bringing into the idea like what when light travels across a room, is it exciting the electrons or you know what I mean, like what's going on there, is it pushing the electrons? And it was like, here's somebody who uses this shit every fucking day but never thought to consider the wonder of what he's actually working with. You know what I mean? Like, so it was like a dead end conversation for both of us because he just was like, I don't really know. That's beyond my pay grade. And I was like, this is the interesting part of what you do, dude. And like, that's what flat earth is. It's just like a different alternative model. And you got a bunch of laymen who happen to work within the infrastructure of it all who don't have any fucking desire to understand the wonder of or the magnificence of the thing that they're working with. They just need to categorize it as such in order to get job done. And that's different than I think what flat earth is all about, in the sense of like being like, well, wow, how does electricity work? Does it excite the ether? Or is it electron flow? Like, what, how does that, you know what I mean? Where other people just don't give a fuck. And that's all this is about. Even the people that are anti-flat earthers are more intriguing and interesting than half of the fucking normies out there in the world.
Well, yeah, dude, from that perspective, they would be viewed as, I don't know, I guess just very focused on
Yeah, dude. Yeah. But like, why would I try to get that person that isn't interested in the wondrous properties of electricity, although he works with it every day? Like, I can't get him to be intrigued by this, like, but that's what's so cool about out here. I think that's why they rage against us all getting together online and shit. Because I remember that was the coolest, most wondrous part to me about any of this was I'll never forget tuning into FreeChan and it was Cathexis and Gem Panda going at it. And I literally had to like look up every other word and they knew everything that I knew and more. And I was like, holy shit, I fucking like, I need to fucking learn more. Like I thought I was smart in some fucking weird way. And then like, holy shit,
Cathexis
like
wasn't
what's
a
that?
flat earther though. He was a
No, but that,
geocentrist.
well, yeah, geocentrist, but he was also, he was a apologist, as he called it. He was the flat earth apologist. And so he had all the greatest arguments of flat earth, but he just didn't commit. And that's why he was a killer, and that's why everyone hated him, because he made some of the greatest arguments, and he was funny as hell. And as we always quoted, you know what I mean? Like we had to be eloquent as fuck.
Hey, and Armando,
I was wondering if that
Black
was the best
Power.
thing. Hey, hold on. I got something to tell you. Why only white people name themselves Dick?
It's because the shape of the Earth is clearly an oblong phalloid.
What the fuck? You telling me the Earth looks like a penis?
The Earth is. Listen, I know it's hard to take in, but when you accept the truth,
it's not hard to
feel
take
it.
in.
The
Hold
Earth
on.
is shaped like a dick, my brother. I'm telling you. Okay. Look, you got the
It's
two
hard to
southern
swallow.
celestial. Look, listen, man, it's hard to swallow. Listen to me. You got the two southern celestial spheres. Okay. And in the middle of those, celestial spheres, you have Sigma Octantis.
I don't want to hear that shit. I'd rather my Earth look like a pussy
telling
than
you,
a
man.
dick.
No, listen, man. You see, and the great thing about Dick Earth is it fucks concave things. Okay, you know what I'm talking about? Like Lord Stephen Christ, he's coming out. He knows the truth. He knows this shit is shaped like
Hey,
a dick.
that nigga said the thing about Dick Earth is.
I'm telling you, man, the Earth is an oblong phalloid. You need to get on this fucking level. You're all wrong.
Hey,
I'm telling you.
reality.
Listen, man, the flat versus globe is a false dichotomy. It's a logical fallacy. Listen, you gotta get on the level.
That's what happens when you believe in flat Earth, man. It's gonna turn into a fucking palace, dog.
No, this came from my like the way I started to understand this is when I started following Lord Stephen Christ. I realized how wrong he was on some things, and he's inverted the truth. He's trying to do a concave dick, and it's not. Okay, it's actually an oblong phalloid. And the thing is, there's no curvature looking straight north. You actually have to find the girth of the Earth by looking at the girth. So, and another thing that proves it with the tides, listen, the moon, hold on, the motion of the ocean causes the moon to twerk around the shaft, which causes the reciprocal tides.
I love it. I like it. I like it. I like it. It's funny.
Look at my model. You can see my model hanging right there. You know, take a look at my picture. And then you've got the spermicidal poke sky.
Spermicidal. Look at this picture.
The spermicidal. Look, they're spraying cum trails to block this out. Okay?
Fuck, no, this nigga got a big map.
Listen, man, 100 kilometers up, you got the. Listen, man, you got the 100 kilometers up, you got the Hyman line. They're spraying cum trails to block the sky.
Can't break the Hyman
line.
Hey, you know what though? I believe the Washington Monument is a depiction of that, bro.
Why do you think there's so many obelisks? Think about it. They're showing
on top of the churches. On top of the churches. Big white man phalloids.
It's a hard truth to swallow, Armando. But you gotta feel it deep inside. But when you feel it deep inside, you'll know.
Fuck that. Fuck that.
No, right now you're too relaxed. You don't know.
Where's L? Where's Big L? We need L over here.
You gotta get it.
Where's Big L at?
You gotta get it.
Yeah, Big L. I think he knows the truth. I think Big L knows the truth.
He can handle
it real well.
He can handle the opioid virus.
Alright, Pete.
Yeah.
Look at this
so yeah, there you go, guys. I've been holding back on the truth, but you know I unzip my knowledge and put it all on your.
You've been holding back. You've been holding back on the Dick Earth.
Yeah, I just let it pop out of my mouth.
Look at Earth's shaft.
Pete, can you read the side chat, please?
Can I do what?
Can you read the side chat?
Agent Jim Panda, it's not. You don't need to do that right now.
I hope he means. Read the whole Earth on that discussions. Sorry, Dick. Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, Dick.
Oh, it's fine.
I'm getting asked to do stuff.
Oh, hang on. Is there a message for me? I didn't. Okay.
The Dick Earth,
I think it's
classic.
It's a message for Pete.
Am I being told to shut up and get out again? Okay.
No. Just read the messages. You'll get it.
What messages are you sending, Jeremy? Are you revealing our operation?
Oh no, I don't know. Maybe it's some later stage flat Earth discussion. Okay, thanks for that. Thanks for that opportunity. So we'll see how things go. But yeah, cheers.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy.
Oh man, I think the white people have lost their fucking mind in America's for the taking.
Yeah, you know.
As far as people losing their minds, I think that's worldwide.
I think it's world.
It's entertaining.
I think white people have finally lost their mind in America's for the taking, man.
Well, I got to tell you, the white people are pretty well armed, and there won't be no taking in my house.
You hear me, right?
You're a whiz with the pizza slicer, Hank.
Oh
yeah.
Man,
y'all want to see my 6-foot battle axe? Y'all want to see that shit? I'm serious. I'll turn on my camera. I'll show you my halberd. You guys want to see it?
We can't have guns. We can't have guns over here in Ireland. Recently, they're after it now. In fairness, they're the police don't have guns in general, but recently they're after introducing fully armed response unit squads, and they just fucking drive around all day. Nothing to do. They fuck all to do. We don't have guns, like, but pretty much not too much trouble as well. But this is definitely police takeover, like, you know.
You have
But we
guns in
can't.
Ireland?
If the shit did hit the fan, in other words, that's what we'd have to be resorting to.
Do people get robbed all the time?
Battle axes. No, it's all blown out of proportion. It's all to sell insurance, to sell stuff. That's what we're all living in. We're living in mammon. It's all about selling stuff and fooling you, keeping you spinning in an absolute. It's absolutely a fantasy. It's completely fiction. From everything, from your name, from the most basic thing, from your name to the shape of the and nature of the place you live on, to every fucking thing else. Everything is
So
contaminated.
you don't think there's people who shoot other people on the flat Earth? You're flat
Sure
Earth.
there are. Of course there are.
That's where that's where it's. Hey, fuck that. I ain't
It's usually about drugs and fucking
with Hank, though.
Well, I just don't understand. Why do you reject
Look at this
only
nigga.
major?
This nigga Hank is a fucking murderer. Look what he's using. Look at.
I ain't murdering nobody. This is my battle axe.
Hey, Hank, dog. Hey, Hank, dog. You
That's
can't
what's
use that
up.
on people.
Oh, is that a
I'd
helmet?
No, I ain't gonna use it on nobody.
Zombie movies.
Hey, I'd rather be shot
Connect
than
that
be
to your
stabbed by that
connect
shit.
that to your machine gun, Hank, as a bayonet. You'll be
Is
fine.
that
No fucking
really,
So Armando, are you ready to accept the Dick Earth truth?
And Vikings and shit.
Hey, I'm quicker to accept a vagina Earth, man.
Well, you know, it's an inversion of the truth. That's what Lucifer does. Are you with Satan? Is that what you're saying?
Hey, no, what I'm saying is that Lucifer wants you to worship a dick Earth.
No, it's quite opposite. Like I said, it's an inversion. And you know about that Luciferian inversion. Come on, man. You got to realize the Earth is an oblong phalloid. There's no question about it.
You have to be. You have, go ahead, though. I would love to hear this.
Slightly wider in the middle than at the ends.
hey, screen share, prove it.
I'm showing you my model right here, and I got it hanging. If you want proof, all you got to do is look down.
I got it hanging.
We all got it. We all have some have a smaller map than others, but you know, our map is right here in between our legs. The two southern celestial spheres point this out. Sigma Octantis, there's no way around it, dude. The centripetal convergence from the North Pole. Come on, man. Like we've been lied to.
I think it's hilarious. Hey, dude,
I
think it's hilarious, though.
And listen, there is a black hole, you know, under Sigma Octantis between the two southern celestial spheres. So that's something we don't understand yet, but we're trying really hard. You know, that prophylactic firmament's difficult to get through. Sometimes they break.
We're exploring that idea.
Hank Hill doesn't understand. Hank Hill doesn't understand. Derp.
So Armando, I just want to say,
we licked that. Us flat earthers will lick that model as well.
Hey Armando, just want to say, hey, Black Power, big up white genocide, fuck every race. Yeah, you're awesome. Fuck you, Armando.
Awesome.
Apologist, and so he had all the greatest arguments of flat Earth, but he just didn't commit. You know, and that's why he was a killer, and that's why everyone hated him, because he made some of the greatest arguments, and he was funny as hell. And as we always quoted, you know what I mean? Like, we had to be eloquent as fuck. So, like, you know, he was just the most eloquent motherfucking. He was the best. Cathexis is the best, and he paid the price for it with some of these crackheads coming after him.
Would you say you're a fanboy of Cathexis?
Fucking right.
He did put out some dope material. He put out some good material.
Oh no! Well, the thing with Cath was like his material isn't even half of what he was all about, man. He was all about the live. He was about this shit. You know what I mean? Like being in the flux. Like he would wreck people, dude.
Well, where's he at?
I'm friendly with him. We hang, but he doesn't want. He doesn't care for it at all, bro. He got attacked really hard, dude.
Okay,
really,
we all been attacked.
I know, but he just doesn't. He just doesn't give shit. It's like, it's like it took all the fun out of it, if you will, at the time, because everyone was almost so innocent and like fun about it all. And then like, I used to have my live stream, and they'd be like, they'd be posting his like, because what they used to do is they would come into the chat with your name and your address as the name of of the person. So even if you deleted a message, the name and the address were still there. So it was like it was just onslaught of fucking getting attacked. And he just, he doesn't have any interest in getting his family attacked for fucking flat Earth. And he's not even a flat earther. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. That's how you know flat Earth won. That's how you know we won. They were resorted to that.
Yeah, I mean that's never cool. People are messed with in these ways. I mean, there's the old like Brian Mullen story as well, and other stories too. Although nothing like too crazy violent though, right? I mean, aren't there probably more people like Republicans going after Democrats or some other like categories of people out there that are
Well, I
actually
think,
much more violent towards each other than like any kind of flat Earth, globe Earth type of thing?
well,
I mean,
you
I'm
gotta
not
think,
saying nothing violent has ever happened, but no, it's the other shit though. I know, and that's serious. I mean, I don't. I know some of what you're talking about, but I'm also talking about in a general sense the stuff that attacks, like
you just
especially
got to
against like
remember,
doxing and stuff like that. Yeah, it's not cool.
what I mean is like, we were at where it was at, where the fucking people that were weird were at the time.
I remember. Yeah, you guys
You
were
know what I
like,
mean? Like,
yeah, you were
because
like,
we were also blowing up Pizzagate shit. We were also
yeah.
blowing. We were connecting. Like, we weren't limited to flat Earth, and that's what I think was weird. Like, I remember I got attacked the most when I said like the thing about the Georgia Guidestones. And like, what if like we need to kill off 80% of the world because they're all retarded, and like if we're gonna live in a golden age, I flipped the script on them and I got like totally, like just fucking lambasted. But like, because these ideas, I thought, like, and that's why I used to say to Kath, and this is what I'll say to you guys, even, is you're rewiring. You doing this show is rewiring what I think is like the neural pathways of the collective consciousness, just by having the show, just by having these ideas exist, just by even it one day being understood by AI what we're referring to. If that's the case, if that be the end of it, or if it's just the end result of the people listening on the other end. But like somehow we are affecting in the ether the perspective of the world. Like they will never kill flat Earth, no matter how many fucking final experiments they try. But I think the interesting thing is the real move, man, is this introduction of the paradox. That's what flat Earth is all about. It's about killing the moon landing, taking us back to pre-moon landing when no one had a third party that knew for certain. And at that, I think, point in
You'll
humanity, like
never kill the
humanity,
moon landing.
it's already dead, brother. But the thing is that
No,
like that, well, except for
Oh,
the
it's so
boomers,
cooked.
it's so over, bro.
It's
It's
cooked.
so over. It's cooked. The fucking thing, whether you like it or not, it's already cooked. We cooked it. Fucking and like the point is that those things, like and again, that's why I always defended America, because I don't want people to use the fake moon landing to take down my God given unalienable protected rights. You know what I'm saying? But like, but the whole thing too also is that like it brings us back to a stage where neither side had they couldn't stand on somebody's shoulders and become tyrants like they've become with the moon landing, because they become tyrants with that little bit of information, proving Galileo. We proved Galileo and Copernicus right. Don't worry, we dig it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know. I think that paradox and the fact that mankind at one point, probably universally, people understood flat Earth and they understood the globe, and that ability to entertain two opposing ideas is like something that propels mankind's ingenuity. Like the idea that we debate, like Jake, like over here, like whom I respect actually dearly, is like you and I you wouldn't have the moon landing to retort to. Therefore, there would be no real there is no pompousness, because there is no either. Like flat Earth has to have a certain sense of humility. I think the globe at one point had that sense of humility, and like like guys like gentlemen like Jake will forego NASA and have the argument of the old that we used to, that people have been having for millennia probably. But neither side had the gumption to be mean to the other party, almost, because nobody knew for certain, so there was no animosity at the end of it. Whereas now, in this day and age, like, you've got this moon landing hanging over the head of everyone where they're like, you're fucking stupid. What, you don't fucking know who Buzz Aldrin is? You fucking commie. You know what I mean? Like, that's been the fucking answer to this intellectual question. It's like, what are you fucking, you don't like America? You know? Like, that's where the trope comes in. Ah, sorry, I'm fucking ranting.
Yeah, and insert like maybe a good old like, what are you, a conspiracy theorist in there somewhere? That's what they
Right,
always
at like
want to do. What are
at the
you?
height of like Hoover's FBI, you know what I mean?
Are you suggesting something corrupt is happening in our government? How dare you? Oh man, like as if it's not just one huge conspiracy on one level or another. There's people conspiring to do all kinds of things. And unless somebody thinks there's no criminality going on in the government, then if there is criminality, then that's all just defined under some level of conspiracy. One or more conspiring to do some kind of evil act of some sort.
Well, it's like that question of like, well, why would they lie? It's like, are you retarded? Like, what do you mean? They fucking lie about everything on TV. They lie about your fucking the Coca-Cola. They lie about the whole fucking. What are you talking about, dude? Why would they lie? To get your fucking money, for one. Like, you know, there's a litany of reasons. Like, yeah, I just think like it's like we've. This is what's so cool about flat Earth in regards to the idea that the moon landing was the carterization of the mankind's collective consciousness and imagination, and flat Earth is that little fucking seedling through the crack of what they fucking tried to kill. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's
but
just
I think
growing,
most
growing stronger.
Yeah, that's well said. I know, it's like the spirit of the earth through humans.
what percent of flat earthers do you think if you were to put them like on this upcoming Orion, if you were to put them on that Orion spacecraft and take them out, take them out far enough to see the entirety of the Earth, the entire sphericity of the Earth, what percent will it actually, go around the moon, on a whatever it is, or I don't know how long the mission is, 7 days or whatever it is. Like what percentage of flat earthers do you think would land and still hold on to the flat Earth? Would you say?
None if they saw that, man.
I don't believe that
Well,
for a second.
No,
the thing is, it's
none, dude.
impossible when you phrase it that way. It's like, we're supposing you can go to space still. What if we took a flat earther out there? Like, we can't even go to space, bro. Come on.
So if you were taken over around the moon and you saw the entirety of the Earth as a sphere from the window, you wouldn't think you were part of some fancy psyop technology where they were projecting stuff outside the windows and they were able to somehow simulate no weightlessness. You wouldn't think that you were part of that psyop. You would actually think you were up in space.
Well,
Yeah, if
hey,
I felt
Issa,
like I was
for you, Issa, I want to say this. Flat earther dies and goes to heaven, right? He gets up there and God goes, look, it's a spinning ball. You were wrong the whole time. The flat earther goes, oh, man, this goes higher than I thought.
Yeah, I
That's a
fucking love
funny.
it.
I think I heard Issa
I love
tell
that
that
joke.
joke.
That's a funny one. That's a funny one.
Oh,
I
you
hadn't
don't know
heard
that one, Jake? That's a
that.
fucking that's a great one, bro.
Good one, bro.